This is a yoga routine for balance training. We are going to be using a chair to do a little bit of gentle strength work, some asymmetrical movements, and of course, some one leg balance. We'll be doing 8 different moves all together. I'm Beth. This is a perfect yoga for seniors approach. You can let me know in the comments if you think I'm a senior. I'm 58. This is also great for fall prevention, which is so important for all of us as we get older. Okay, we'll be doing 8 different moves. The chair is always an option, whether or not you choose to use it. I'll show you how you can use it in the various poses. Start with your feet about hip width apart. I do recommend that you're barefoot so that you can feel your feet on the ground. You can take your feet wider if that feels more stable to you. We'll begin with a simple weight shift, meaning going side to side and feeling your weight move from one foot to the other. Now, if you'd like, you can also stagger your feet and move a little forward and back. We'll be doing other asymmetrical moves in just a few moments. The idea of this is when we walk and when we move throughout the day, we're constantly shifting our weight without even realizing it. So here we're doing a little intentional shifting so that we can get our body used to making that transfer. Now, if you like, you could start taking a little weight off one foot, maybe a small heel lift. That's where we're going in move 2. We can begin playing around with that a little bit now. And here's the chair. At any time you feel any bit unsteady, fine to use the chair. We want to build up your balance, not make you fall over. So a few more times, if you didn't try that little movement asymmetrical, you can do forward back, going as slowly as you need to maintain your balance as you do your own weight shift. Okay, for the next movement, I'm going to face the chair. My hands are lightly resting in the chair. You can also do this move without your hands on the chair. And we're simply going to come to tippy toes. So feet parallel, come up to your toes. Now you can hold for a few moments. If you'd like, maybe lift one hand, switch, or perhaps both. Again, never want to fall down. If you lose your balance, that's okay. Let your heels come down. And then we'll also go the reverse. So lifting up your toes so that you're balancing on your heels. This one you might not be as used to going into this direction, but it's important that we have balance on our whole feet. Let's do that again, forward to the toes. This is also building up strength in the ankles and the calves. So these strength moves are important too. The more leg strength we have, the better we're going to be able to balance. All right, and then rocking back to your heels. You might want to hold something more solid for this, like a counter. Make sure you don't grab your chair so it's rocking back with you. Let's do one more hold in each direction, holding on the toes, and then coming back to your heels. And we'll finish here with a few rocking back and forth. So it's important that we're able to move fluidly and dynamically in addition to holding our body in balance. All right, heels come down. Next move are going to be some gentle squats. I'll stay facing the chair first and then I'll turn around. So if you're facing the chair, hands can rest lightly on the chair. Again, adjust your feet so that they're a comfortable width apart. And we're going to start sitting back into a squat like we're sitting back into a chair. So not a lot of lean forward. If you need to lean forward enough to give yourself some counterweight, go ahead and do that. And then come back up. We'll go up and down for a few times. These are sometimes called air squats. And the chair is simply here for balance. If you don't need the chair, you could also balance with your arms out in front. So this is how we often do yoga chair pose, or with hands pressed together. So I'll face you for that movement. Notice I'm really not going that deep. You can't hear them, but my knees are creaking and cracking. So going too deep doesn't feel great right now. But as I go down, I'm taking more movement, more mobility into my joints, lubricating things. And then when I hold, and if it feels okay, hold here for a few moments. This is where we can start building up some more endurance, some functional strength in the leg muscles. We're recruiting other muscles, all the muscles really in the lower body to help hold us here. And as you squat, stay upright in your chest so we're not rounding forward. We can get in a nice big deep breath, maybe one more breath here. All right, and then lift back up. And here, I'll start facing you and then I'll show you the option facing the chair. We are going to do a weight shift again. This time our shift is going to take us into a march. So think of the weight coming into one foot as you lift the other foot, and then that foot back down and lift. So a simple march. Now again, the chair is here. You can hold on to the chair the entire time. And with all of these moves, when you're doing balance training, you can practice holding onto the chair with a whole hand, holding onto the chair with just one finger. You do the same with a wall, having your hand on the wall, having just your fingertips at the wall. So we can progress in our balance training. All right, then start to take the marches more slowly. Of course, when you slow it down, that requires you to hover. If you're holding on to something, you might give a little try, no hands for a moment, always having your sturdy object close enough that you can go back down. And then the other leg. And remember, not only are we balancing, but longer holds build strength. So if you have a timer nearby, you could try to hold for maybe about 30 seconds or so. And if you can work up to 30 seconds, you could try working up to a minute. First, maybe trying holding it on, then trying it holding nothing. All right, let's do one more hold on the other side. And again, holding on. Try it without. All right, we're halfway through. That was 4 of our 8 moves. I hope you stay to the end for a fun little movement that we're going to do last, a little walk movement. Now we're going to do a little bit more asymmetrical movement. So we'll start on one side. You can have the side that's not moving with your hand on the chair or whatever you're holding onto. This is going to be a forward back tap. So you'll reach your toes forward and then you'll go around in a semicircle and touch them back. Now, as I come around, I am lifting my foot up, so I do have to balance. The additional benefit of this move is we're getting some nice mobility in the hip joint where our leg, our femur muscle, comes into the pelvis. That can tighten us up, that can tighten up on us as we sit a lot, as we get older. So again, those in their 50s like me might struggle with some tightness here. Just like with the marches, the slower you go, the longer you have to basically balance on one foot. So you can play around with that. All right, I wasn't counting. There's no real number here. You could do anywhere from about 5 to 10, depending on how that feels for you. And then we'll try the other side. I'm going to try this side without the chair. So you may notice me being more shifty, losing my balance. And as you practice these movements, you'll probably notice that balance tends to be easier on one side than the other. If you've ever had a foot injury, that foot might give you more trouble when you try to balance on it. If you have a dominant versus non-dominant side, and yes, we have that in our lower body too, you might notice that difference. So all the more reason to do some asymmetrical movements to try to help us to balance on both sides. All right, and that was kind of a warm up. For now, we're going to do a side leg lift. Here I'll have the chair. You might want to lean into your chair just a little bit. Lean into the foot that's closest to the chair. With your toes pointing forward, start to lift up the opposite leg. Now, there's really no need to lift the leg high. First, that you'll notice is some muscle engagement around the glutes, the outer hips, even maybe into your thighs, your quads, your hamstrings. So all this stuff, right? That's good. We want those muscles to be strong. Now, with those muscles engaged, you can also work on the balance element. Remember, you can go to one finger, you can let go completely. And then let's just do a few up and down. Probably we should have done those first. When we move dynamically, that helps warm us up and prepare for a hold. We'll do it that way on the second side. A few more. One more. And then I'll move my chair for the second side. You can simply just turn around the other way. No need to move your chair around. So again, stabilize the foot closest to the chair, and we'll start with lifting up and down a few times. So toes forward, engage the muscles around the hips and glutes, and lift up and down, simply finding your range. It's not a matter of going to maximum. We're working on mobility. There's some flexibility in there. We might find that our range gets better over time. But we're really focusing on our balance training here. All right, that was about 5. Let's do a hold now, engaging those muscles, pulling the muscles in toward the bones. That will help with our muscle and bone strength. Staying here for a few moments, you might start to feel a lot of sensation in the bottom leg. Lift the arm if that's there for you today. All right, come back down. We'll do basically the same thing, but a rear leg lift. So I'm going to turn to face the chair. And this time you can stagger your feet a little bit. The foot closer to the chair is going to be your stabilizing foot. Come onto the toe of your back foot. And if this is enough balance training for you in this position, you stay right here. No need to lift the back leg at all. You might let the front knee be a little soft. Engage the muscles in the back of your leg, this time all the way up to the glutes, to find a little lift with the leg. And we'll come up and down about 5 times. So I am definitely not lifting the leg high at all. If you chose to lean over, you could get a little higher lift, so you could play around with that. Last one, and then we'll hold. Now holding with this lean, this is like a version of Yoga Warrior 3 pose. So you might keep your hands on the chair. You can also play around with doing kind of the airplane version or reaching out in front of you. So there are ways to start advancing your balance training practice once it feels more comfortable in your body. Set that down. We'll go to the other side. So taking one foot a little closer to the chair, coming on the ball of the back foot to start. And you can choose to lean your body forward a little bit to distribute your weight. And we'll do 5 back leg lifts, thinking about engaging all the muscles in the glutes, the hamstrings, lifting the leg as one piece each time. I'm not bending the knee, I'm lifting the whole back of the leg. And then hold. If you'd like, you can come into a slightly further lean forward, keeping the back long, reaching the heel of the back foot away, and then maybe finding, you can always simply find one arm, maybe 2. Today is feeling a little more unsteady for me on the second side. You might feel my ankles wobbling, that's good. Finding my strength. All right, and then landing back down. So let's move, and you can do this holding the chair or not. I'll show you how holding the chair, and then I'll show you without the chair. So if you're holding the chair, step a little bit to the back end of your chair. And what we're going to do is put one foot right in front of the other, like you're walking a tightrope, and then the other one. And you can go as far as you want, as far as your chair lets you to go, and then go backwards. Now you want to alternate which foot you start with. So if you started with your right, you can then take your left foot forward. Now a fun way to practice this without the chair is to come to the edge of your yoga mat, place the foot on the edge. Don't be surprised if I lose my balance here. And then walk the plank along the edge of your yoga mat. You can have your arms out in your plank if you need to. This is wobbly for me, and my mat is kind of cushy, so that makes it even more wobbly. Now, the closer you keep your feet together, the more wobbly it's going to be. A bigger step is likely to help you to balance a little more. And when you've done one side, you want to do the other. You can take your walk less tightropey, so you could be in a little narrow walk to practice. And if you're feeling really spicy today, you can also try the backwards tightrope walk. So those are your 10 poses for balance today. If you enjoyed this, you might also enjoy the recent video I did for balance and posture. I've got a lot of other over 50 offerings since I'm over 50 myself. Comment and tell me, how old are you? How did this help you? And what would you like to see more of?